This is Engage in New York, Module 1, Lesson 11, Problem Set Debrief, going through and using the place value chart and the little discs to represent multiplication with decimals and showing the standard algorithm as well. This is 3 copies of 0.2. This is 5 copies of 0.02. 3 copies of 0.6, and 6 copies of 0.04. Then down below, I use the area model to find the multiplication. 7 copies of 3.12 of 2 1200ths. And I did the multiplication. 7 times 3 is 21 ones, plus 7 tenths, plus 14 hundredths. You take the 110 and move it over, and you get 21.84. 6 copies of 4.25. 6 copies. 6 times 4 is 24 ones. 6 times 2 is 12 tenths. 6 times 5 is 30 100ths. I'm going to take my 3 in the tens place, and I'm going to move it over. So I had 30 tenths. I'm going to move it over and add it to 1.2. Then I'm going to take my 1 whole and move it over. So 24 plus 1.2 plus 0.3 actually ends up equaling 25.5. Adding in the 3 here. That's another way of seeing this problem. Moving my 3 over, adding it. Moving the 1 over, adding it. 25.5. Or adding the decimals up, and you get 25.5. Backside. I'm using the area model. 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 5 is 15. I'm going to start at the end. I'm going to move 1 and 1 over. So 18 plus 1 is 19. So I bring down what's left, 0.05. Here, I'm going to take 1 and move it over. I'm left with 0.9. Now I add that 1 to my 12 ones and end up with 13 plus 0.9 plus 0.05, 13.95. Again, 4 times 20 is 80 tens. 4 times 7 is 28 100ths. 4 times 5 is 21 thousandths. Starting at the end, moving my numbers over. I take my 2, move it over. I'm left with 0. Plus, I'm going to add 2 here, and I end up with 30, 0.3. I'm going to take my 2, before I add my numbers, I'm going to take my 2 and move it over. No, sorry. I'm just going to add my 30, and I end up with 80 plus 0.3 plus 0, which becomes 80.30. So I do add them up, and that's 0.3. I'm going to leave it. Down here, Miles incorrectly gave the product 7 copies of 2.6. 7 times 2 is 14 ones. 7 times 6 is 42 tens. Take my 4, add it up. I'm left with 0.2. Add it up, 18 plus 0.2, 18.042. He forgot to add the 4 groups of 10 over to the ones. That was Miles's mistake. Then Mrs. Amir wants to buy the 8 protractors and some erasers for her classroom. This right here is like an area model. And some erasers. She has $30 total. So she wants to buy 8 protractors. 8 times $2.65. 8 times 2 is 16 ones. 8 times 6 is 48 tenths. 8 times 5 is 40. I'm going to start moving my numbers over. I end up with 0, 0, plus I'm going to add my number. I end up with 52. I'm going to add my 5 over here, 0.2. I'm going to add my 5, and I end up with 21. 21 plus 0.2 plus 0 ends up 21.20. $21.20 is what she spent. How much money will she have left to buy erasers? $30, subtract $21.20, you end up with $8.80 she has to spend on erasers. All right, I hope that makes sense. And I hope by doing this and checking your work, you will understand how to successfully complete the homework. And now you have examples from the problem set.